Alright, we're here in my garage. Got a 350. This whole thing would be funny like 3 years ago, wouldn't it? Not so much now. Today, what we're going to be taking apart is the diff. This thing. The standard one is a viscous diff, and it does seem to overheat a bit and basically turn into an open diff. So we want rid of that, and we want to put in the Kaaz 2A LSD. And as you can see, that is just the actual internals of the LSD. It's not like a full case and everything. So we've got to get the case off. This whole thing, we've got to get off, open it up, take the old LSD out and put the new one in. Which means I've just realised I'm going to have to take the exhaust off and the anti-roll bar off. Then try and pop the drive shafts out, which was a pain on the 86. Hopefully it goes a bit easier on this, although it's probably going to be worse because it's rusty as fuck. Take those two bolts out, I would guess, because that's holding it up to the subframe. And get rid of this. Oh, that's the other thing. I've got some Whiteline bushings that we're going to replace that leaking piece of shit with. Again, let's take a trip over to the parts corner. We've got all this Whiteline goodness. Look at that, loads of bits. Some of them are for the front arms, some of them are for the rear and the diff. So yeah, we're going to be replacing that, and I believe there's also some bushings in there for these two, that bit and that bit. But yeah, I think the first thing we should do is drain the oil so that it doesn't spill everywhere when I try and lower it down. So yeah, I guess let's make a start. I just want to say now as well that I'm probably going to do this terribly, probably get stuck on something that I can't fucking undo as usual, and Bald Yoda will have to come and save the day. But yeah, we'll see how far we can get on our own. Let's go. Alright, so the new diff is in, as you can tell. I'm driving it, so obviously it was vaguely successful. Nothing's fallen off yet, nothing is leaking yet, so I'm pretty happy with that. But it does feel quite rough. I was expecting this to some degree because the 86, when we put the 1.5 way in that, it's pretty rough. Even after it all bedded in and everything, it's still pretty rough at like sort of 10 mile an hour or below. Like tight turns in parking spaces, pulling out of junctions, it's pretty juddery and clunky. So I was expecting that, but this kind of does it even up to like 20 or 25 mile an hour, which doesn't sound like much difference over sort of 10 or 15 mile an hour. Like, don't know if you could hear it there, it judded a little bit there, but not too bad. But yeah, this does it more often at 20 or 25 mile an hour, and that means that you actually encounter it quite a bit in normal road driving, like going around a roundabout or just going around a tight corner. I'm surprised it didn't do it more there, to be honest. Like, it was the last few corners and the last few miles, and like last night when I was test driving it, it was doing it a lot. So maybe it's getting slightly better, I don't know. I was going to say, hopefully it's going to get better with time, because they do say like the first 100 miles don't do any like aggressive driving while it's sort of bedding in, and I did spend 15-20 minutes doing figure eights to bed it all in properly and then flush the oil again. So I have bedded it in properly, and like today I'm pretty much just driving it for the sake of bedding it in a bit more, hoping that that's going to smooth it out a little bit, but we'll see. The other thing I wanted to explain was how much of a nightmare some parts of this job were. mainly getting the old bushings out. The bush in the subframe was an absolute twat, and even the two like ear bushings on the diff, they were a bit of a twat as well. I dread to think how many hours I spent with a drill, with a reciprocating saw, a blowtorch, a Dremel, a die grinder, all sorts of things. A hammer and chisel. I broke a screwdriver and a chisel trying to hammer it out. Like, it was an absolute nightmare. I did get it done eventually, so just a bit of perseverance and you can do it, but ball ache, absolute ball ache. And then the two bushings on the diff itself were a bit of a twat as well. They took a lot more time and effort than I was expecting. But again, got it done eventually, just took a long time. The one bit that was like literally fucking impossible for me to do with the tools that I had was getting the ring gear bolts off. There's like 10 bolts that hold the ring gear to the old diff, and you've got to swap the ring gear onto the new diff, so you need to undo them. I put it in a vise, I clamped it down as hard as I could, I wedged it against the wall, I put a bit of bar on the breaker bar and on the vise, and it still wasn't doing anything. I couldn't get any of them undone. So I ended up taking it to Baldy Yoda's house. He's got some air tools, like a compressed air tank and a windy gun. So we just got it off with that. It was so easy with that. I'm like seriously considering investing in some air tools now because of that. Like, I'd spent like hours trying to get these bolts off, and then with his air gun, just about 30 seconds and they were all off. So big thank you to him for helping me out yet again. But I think the rest of it I actually managed to do on my own, which I'm quite happy with. Like, normally I end up having to wait for someone to give me a hand with something, but I managed to do all of this apart from those bolts on my own, and it works. Nothing's fallen off, nothing's leaking, so I'm happy with that. So that's pretty much it for kind of explanation of how it went and what it feels like. Like I say, the initial impressions are just pretty rough and noisy, but hopefully that'll get a bit better with time. And yeah, the main test for it is going to be in 2 days time at Santa Pod, so we'll see how it goes. I think I am going to take some of those tyres that I struggled on last time and see if the diff or just my kind of attitude towards it changes and I can get on with those tyres, because like I said in the last video, I want to prove to myself that I can actually drift on those tyres and that I'm not just complete shit. So yeah, we're gonna do that. And I think Steve is going as well, Steve D in his 350Z. So that'll be the first time I've actually drifted with him while I'm in the 350. We drifted together at Matsuri when I was in the 86, and that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going out with him as well, but hopefully it gives me a bit of time to just get used to the new diff. We'll see. But yeah, I'll see you in that video, which should be out probably a few days after this one. Hopefully the new diff doesn't die before then, but yeah, stay tuned to find out, I guess. See you then.